Welcome to Wrestler of the Week, week number 7. It pretty much works like this. If you are a professional wrestler and you had the most impact on the industry within the past 7 days, I will name you the male or female Wrestler of the Week. Every week there will be points tabulated, and at the end of the calendar year, whoever has the most points will be named the male and female Wrestler of the Year. And if you want to see what I use as criteria for Wrestler of the Week, be sure to check out my week 1 video. Title changes, title defenses, tournament wins, so much stuff popping in wrestling. So let's just get right into it. First, the women and some honorable mentions. Layla Gray defeated Hollywood Haley J, Freya the Slayer, and Tiffany Neves to retain the OVW Women's Championship. We saw some major movement in the Stardom Cinderella tournament, with Ruaka, AZM, Ami Soheri, and Hanan all winning their quarterfinal matches. There's a lot of movement in AEW, with Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May's hands being full as they try to fend off Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo. Also, Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander also seems to have to deal with the threat of TBS Women's Champ Julia Hart and Sky Blue. We got an announcement that Unagi Saika will debut at MLW War Chamber to face Jenny Kai for the MLW Featherweight Championship. And in WWE, Naomi and Bianca Belair are becoming more involved in the damage control angle that involves the faction and Bayley, who will be facing Io Sky at WrestleMania. Will Naomi and Bianca team up to face the Kabuki Warriors at WrestleMania? Only time will tell. And now the top 10 wrestlers of the week for the women. Kicking off the countdown for the women are Billy Starks and Queen Aminata from Ring of Honor, who won their semi-final matches to advance to the finals to determine the number 1 contender for the Ring of Honor Women's Television title, and this match between these two has the potential to be a sleeper. At number 9 is Mercedes Moné, who was all over AEW television and is already getting involved in angles on all sorts of business, introducing herself to Riho and Chris Statlander before she made it known that there is nothing Willow Nightingale has for her. And I was super happy that AEW did not ignore the history and feud that Moné and Willow had and the circumstances where Moné had to drop the IWGP Women's title to Willow. I also loved that she had no time for Stokely Hathaway, but Moné is already making herself seen and her impact is already being felt. We have Hikaru Shida coming in at number 8, and she had a very decisive victory against Rachel Ellering on Ring of Honor television to prep her for her Ring of Honor Women's title match against Athena at Supercard of Honor. I love me some Shida, and even though she sort of just walked in and was given a title shot, I am excited for the match as Athena has really let loose with her in-ring style and character, and Shida always brings the goods in the ring. And Shida comes in at number 8. Roxanne Perez from NXT is the number 7 entry, and she had a busy week on NXT, defeating Tatum Paxley in sound fashion as she looks towards her NXT Women's title match against Lyra Valkyria at NXT Stand and Deliver. I have said it before, I am truly digging heel Perez, even if my conspiracy theory is that Perez was slotted in probably what would have been Cora Jade's spot if she didn't get injured. But NXT shows they can take lemons and turn it into a very nice lemon chiffon. And Perez feels like a real threat to Valkyria. She's called the Prodigy for a reason, and Roxanne Perez finds herself at number 7 on the list. We got a tag team tie at number 6 with Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo, who scored a major victory on AEW Dynamite last week as they defeated AEW Women's Champ Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May, with Thunder Rosa even pinning the champ. I had a feeling Thunder Rosa was going to find herself inserted in this feud between Storm and Purrazzo, and it is a welcome wrinkle in this storyline, as I am always down for more Thunder Rosa, and as I said last week, I love everyone in this story, and I am down to see what happens next. At number 5 is Becky Lynch, who finally and definitively defeated Nia Jax in a last woman standing match on last week's Monday Night Raw, and now Lynch has a clear path towards her championship date with World Women's Champ Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Now we get to the meat and potatoes, and I am sure we are going to get a battle of wits and tests of willpower between Lynch and Ripley heading into WrestleMania, and it is going to be glorious. Bobby Roode. Becky Lynch comes in at the halfway mark for the women. At number 4, we have the Ring of Honor Women's Champ Athena, who defeated Nikita in a Ring of Honor Proving Ground match pretty soundly to make a point to her challenger Hikaru Shida before their confrontation at Supercard of Honor for Athena's Ring of Honor Women's title. I love Athena. She has breathed new life into her career as Ring of Honor Women's Champ, and I am ready for a potential banger of a match between her and Hikaru Shida. The number 3 entry is WWE Women's Champ Io Sky, who had a dominating week, first defeating Naomi on SmackDown before leading the charge of a damage control beatdown that also got Bianca Belair when she tried to help her friend, and now it seems like it's only a matter of time before Bianca and Naomi end up challenging the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag titles. But Io Sky made a point to Royal Rumble winner Bayley as she took Naomi down and made it clear she is indeed the genius of the sky and one of the best wrestlers, male or female, on the planet. Who had the former Io Shirai walking into WrestleMania as Women's Champ on their Wrestling in 2020's bingo card? I didn't, and I'm happy that one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is getting a prime WrestleMania spot, moment, and recognition for her insane talent. Io Sky comes into the countdown at number 3. Coming in right at number 2 is TNA Women's Champ, the absolutely dominating Jordynne Grace, who defeated Tasha Steelz to retain the TNA Knockouts title on the main event of last week's Impact, and it is now time for TNA to hit the reset button with a number 1 contenders match, as Grace is making moves towards becoming somewhat of a dominant champ in the vein of Awesome Kong. I am not sure who will be the one to dethrone Grace. Maybe Ash by Elegance if she gets a title shot? Maybe she just holds on to the title until she signs with WWE or AEW and she just leaves as champ. That's not very likely, but I am finding a hard time also figuring out the endgame alternative. Jordynne Grace is the real deal, and she comes in at number 2 Wrestler of the Week for the women. And our female wrestler of the week for week number 7 is AEW TBS Women's Champion Julia Hart, who had an insanely busy week. First on Collision, Hart defeated Trish Adora to defend her TBS Women's Championship, and then she and Sky Blue got involved with Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. Then on Rampage Live on Wednesday, she and Sky Blue won a major hardcore tag match against Statlander and Willow. Julia Hart only gets better every time she is in the ring and is quickly becoming one of my favorite performers in all of AEW. The house always wins, and that means Julia Hart is your Women's Wrestler of the Week for Week 7. And now the men and some honorable mentions. Trick Williams won a major match against Noam Dar in NXT as he looks ahead to his grudge match against Carmelo Hayes at Stand and Deliver. LA Knight and AJ Styles continued to build their WrestleMania feud. Jake Something won a competitive match to become the number 1 contender to Mustafa Ali's X Division title. Crazy Steve defeated PCO to retain the TNA digital title. Bryan Danielson defeated Katsuyori Shibata in a great match on Collision to build towards his match with Will Ospreay at AEW Dynasty. And speaking of Ospreay, again, he showed great passion in a blazing promo on AEW Dynamite. Pay respect, bruv! Other than that, we got a ton of tag team tournament matches where we saw DIY, The Awesome Truth, New Day, The Street Profits, and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller all winning matches to vie for a spot in the six-pack ladder match against the Judgment Day for the tag titles at WrestleMania. Infantry upset the House of Black on Collision to advance in the AEW tag tournament. Axiom and Nathan Frazier and the OC also won matches on NXT to advance in the NXT #1 Contenders Tag Team Tournament. And finally, the top 10 wrestlers of the week for the men. Starting the countdown is Hook, who on last week's Dynamite scored the biggest win of his career, getting Chris Jericho to tap out to Red Rum. It's one thing to pin the first ever undisputed champion and first ballot Hall of Famer. It's another to make him tap at this stage of his career. Jericho is still a major name, and he has done what he could to try and give back to the younger AEW stars. But this feels like the start of a feud between Hook and Jericho and not the culmination. But for now, Hook finds himself at number 10. The number 9 entry belongs to Octagon Jr., who defeated Mecha Wolf to retain the AAA Latin American Championship at AAA Origins. Number 8 is Drew Gulak, who represented the No Quarter Catch Club as he defeated Riley Osborne to retain the Heritage Cup on last week's NXT. I am a fan of the NQCC playing the Freebird rules with the Heritage Cup, which opens up all sorts of storyline possibilities. Alex Shelley comes in at number 7, and he had a super busy week. First, he defeated JT Dunn to retain his Revolver Championship. Then on TNA Impact, he, as part of the Time Splitters, defeated the Grizzled Young Vets. There are reports that the Motor City Machine Guns have pretty much completed their obligations with TNA, with Shelley and Chris Sabin getting something of a send-off. So it will be interesting to see where the Guns' next journey lands, but for this week, Alex Shelley has taken the number 7 spot. The number 6 spot belongs to the WrestleMania main eventers that also includes Jimmy and Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa. Cody Rhodes had another great sit-down interview where Paul Heyman eventually came out and offered an opportunity for Cody and Roman Reigns to have a face-to-face with no bloodline interference. Then on Friday Night SmackDown, Cody seemed to outwit Roman for once, as Seth freaking Rollins and Jey Uso came out of the crowd to even the odds as Jimmy Uso and Solo came out for a potential attack on Cody. And we are seeing all of these stories intertwined, and it is great, again, to see the main program of the biggest show in the year feel just like that. At number 5 is Shotgun Tony Gunn, who last week in a tag match with Luke Curtis defeated Jack Vaughn and EC3, and with that victory, Gunn became OVW World Heavyweight Champion. This is Gunn's third run with the title, and the Arkansas Roughnecks' way of winning will be debated. But the fact is, he got the pin in this stipulated match and thereby has been awarded the title. So at number 5, we got your new OVW World Heavyweight Champion, Shotgun Tony Gunn. At number 4 is Matt Riddle, who retained the New Japan World Television title against Davey Boy Smith Jr. in a great match. Riddle is doing his best to prove his worth inside the ring after his WWE release, and it will be interesting to see how much value Riddle can add as he competes on the independents with perhaps an open door back to WWE in the future? Who can tell? But Matt Riddle is definitely making waves and making himself visible in the wrestling world and finds himself at number 4 this week. The number 3 spot goes to the brand new AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada, who on Dynamite from Toronto defeated Eddie Kingston with a Rainmaker to win the title clean as a sheet. The Young Bucks didn't need to interfere, and Okada, even though he is part of a heel faction, is still being cheered at times like he's a babyface. Okada has the RVD and the Alliance effect going on. After the match, it looked like Pac made an immediate beeline to challenge for Okada's new title, and that has the potential to be a match that can melt faces. But congratulations to the new champ, who finds himself at number 3 for Wrestler of the Week. Coming in just below Wrestler of the Week at number 2 is Yota Tsuji, who defeated Hiroki Goto to win the 2024 New Japan Cup. I know there have been a lot of complaints over the booking of the Cup tournament. I don't know how many Fire Guido hashtags I've seen over the past while, but even though the booking of the tournament in itself may have left a lot to be desired, what can't be argued is that the result was right with Yota Tsuji, as he avoided a Rainmaker from Goto and hit 2 spears for the 3 count and the Cup. Tsuji is part of the future of New Japan as they redevelop under President Hiroshi Tanahashi, and I am excited to see this new talent develop. Follow up is key, but for now, your number 2 Wrestler of the Week is Yota Tsuji. And the Male Wrestler of the Week for week number 7 is my man from the 6, the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland, who at AEW Dynamite from Toronto defeated Christian Cage for the TNT title in a wild I Quit match. We got dramatics on a ladder, blood, Mama and Baby Wayne interference, but Matt Menard and Daniel Garcia came out to even the odds. It took several low blows and the threat of spike to the head, but Copeland got Cage to utter those famous words, and we got the feel-good moment needed. And now that Copeland is TNT champ, are we stepping into a new era? Or do Copeland and Cage have one more match in them? Like a TLC match? We will see. But for now, our Male Wrestler of the Week is fellow Torontonian Adam Copeland for week number 7. And here are the weekly standings for the men and the women. Thank you guys so much for your patience as I put this up later than normal, but a brother needs to vacate. What did you think of my rankings for Wrestler of the Week, week number 7? Did you agree or disagree with my rankings? Share your thoughts, leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.